Hi, this is Friday the 20th of May 2022. This is the Democratic Alliance Labour Report. And thank you for tuning in. I'd appreciate it if you share this report, send it by WhatsApp to your friends, put it on your Facebook. I would appreciate that. In essence, today I want to concentrate on just one topic, and that is the topic of the budget debate that is taking place in Parliament. You'll see that all the various sectors of our economy, the various departments within government are presenting their budgets, and the various political parties are debating. Obviously, the debate that I'm interested in, and the Democratic Alliance has appointed me as their Labour spokesperson, is the Department of Employment and Labour, and I will be presenting my speech to Parliament next week. Well, the reality is that here we are on the cusp of the budget debate. It looks like it's going to be supported very strongly by the ANC, and we know that the Department of Employment and Labour has failed South Africa. So thank you for listening. It's Michael Bagram, the Democratic Alliance Labour spokesperson. Well, I'll tell you how it works, and please don't think we're sitting in Alice in Wonderland, but it happens with all the departments in South Africa. First of all, the department fails. They don't produce what they're supposed to produce. They don't service the people. They don't do what's necessary. They then set targets for themselves. They set it themselves. They then market themselves. They say they got 80% or 90%. Then what they do is they present that to the portfolio committees. The portfolio committees have a chance to ask them a few questions. They try and answer, or they try and avoid the answers, and then they present their budget. And they argue that they had a test, they were properly examined, and they got 80%, and they've improved because last year they got 79%. And so therefore they should not only get their budget, but they should increase their budget. And we go through this charade year after year. This is my 7th year in Parliament. And every year we have the same thing. And every year I ask the department, did you set the test yourself? Yes. Did you market yourself? Yes. Did you at the end of the day assess the marking yourself as well? Yes. And now you've given yourself 80%? Yes. Now, can you imagine if everyone could set their own test? They could ask themselves nonsense questions, give a nonsense answer, and then give themselves 80%. Why they didn't get 100%, I don't understand, because they are the ones that control everything. They don't get the public to come in and give import into that report at all. And so here I sit, Michael Bagram, a member of Parliament, sitting through the charade year after year. The department itself seems very happy with themselves. They seem that they've done things well. The only times that we do hear some problems coming out of it is when the Auditor General goes and has a look at their books and fails them on their audit. At least they are being honest about it, and they failed the Department of Employment and Labour like they have done for the last 15 years. That the Department of Employment and Labour has failed their audit. There's always been expenditure that can't be explained. There's always been theft. There's always been fraud. All of that's there. But now, what we've seen in this past year and over the pandemic, we've seen 2 years of absolute disaster. And let me explain what's happened. We've got various entities within the Department of Employment and Labour, and I've spoken about it many times on these podcasts. The one entity is the Unemployment Insurance Fund. Well, they collect money from every employee every month via the income tax. They collect it every single month, and every single month the monies are paid over to the receiver revenue from the employer. The employer then has a good feeling that if the employee gets dismissed or retrenched or dies in the family or needs some money, that money will come from the UIF. They've been teetering along for years, for 20 years now, where they've been failing most of the time, but at least people are getting a little bit of UIF out of it. Well, with the advent of the pandemic, all hell broke loose. Obviously, thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of employees claimed. The DA begged them to hand the function over to the receiver of revenue. They said, no, they can handle it. That entity has failed the workforce of South Africa. Literally thousands of employees who didn't earn during the pandemic were supposed to get their TERS money. Money is out of the UIF and they just didn't get it. Yes, some did. Yes, some got bits. There's no explanation as to why you got paid X, why you got paid Y. There's no explanation as to why they didn't pay certain people. People are still trying now 2 years later to get that money. So that failed completely, but yet they gave themselves, the UIF gave themselves 90% in their test when they failed the workforce of South Africa. We have the workmen's compensation, the compensation fund itself. There are people still claiming 30 years later, trying to get the payments. They gave themselves 80%. Well, if they gave themselves 80%, they're entitled to their budget, not so? But when you go to the people on the ground, the people who've been injured, no service delivery whatsoever. You have Productivity South Africa, a fantastic organization. It's supposed to be to ensure that South Africa has great productivity. Well, we're the second last in the world. The second last in the world. Can you believe it? And we spend millions and millions on Productivity South Africa. I don't know what they're actually doing, whether anyone actually ever goes to work. What the story is, we don't know. And the more I ask, the more non-answers I get. Well, the department itself, the Department of Employment and Labour, we have the highest unemployment in the world, and it gets worse every single quarter, and I've monitored the last 10 years. Every single quarter for the last 10 years, we have been growing the unemployment figures. We are close to an Arab Spring. When we saw Arab Spring up in North Africa, it's because unemployment reached 25%. We've doubled that. It is unbelievable. And yet the Department of Employment and Labour passed itself. They got 75% overall. They've done really well, they said. They're entitled to their budget. They're spending billions of rands on the Department of Employment and Labour. If they disappeared altogether as a department, we'd probably have much better results in this country. I've got to tell the minister that in Parliament again, similar to what I did last year. So thank you once again for listening to me. It's Michael Bagram. This is Friday, the 20th of May, 2022, from the Democratic Alliance.